All right, here we go. This is the 26 CFR 31.6011 B-2 employees account numbers. This is the reason why I'm showing you this one is because this is going to help you shut down your employer when he's trying to steal your money out your check, say he's got to do this and he's got to do that. Well, this is the employees count numbers. If you guessed it, that it's your social security number is an account number. That's what this is talking. This is what this is talking about. And let me go and read it. I'm going to read through this. I might skip a few sections. Uh, try to cover what applies to most people. So here we go. 26 CFR 31.6011B-2 employees account numbers. Requirement of application in general. I'm skipping number 1 because that's before 1962 and may not apply to most people right now. But here we go. 2. On or after November 1st, 1962, every employee who on any day after October 31st, 1962, is in employment for wages which are subject to the taxes imposed by the Federal Insurance Contribution Act, or which are subject to the withholding of income tax from wages under Section 3402, but who prior to such day has neither secured an account number nor made application therefore, shall make an application on Form SS5 for an account number. So what's an account? Yeah, they call it an account number. And they also said Federal Insurance Contribution Act. That's FICA. That's that
Right.
person. Mute your mic, everyone. I know what I'm gonna do. I will do it. All right, if y'all can mute your mic. Thank you. It's got it. All right, sorry about that. All right, let's look at what Wikipedia says about the Federal Insurance Act. It says the Federal Insurance Contribution Act is a United States federal payroll or employment contribution directed towards both employees and employers to fund Social Security and Medicare. Federal programs that provide benefits for retirees, people with disabilities, and children of deceased workers. So FICA is for retirement, people with disabilities, and children of deceased workers. Okay, so it's not just for retirement. So you might know someone or you might have someone in your home that is disabled, and that's what that money is funding, right? And they said it's a contribution. So, what's the definition of a contribution? Okay, because when I think of contribution, it's a gift or payment to common fund or collection. Donation, here's the synonyms. Is my screen big enough? I'll make it a little bigger. Donation, gift, offering, present, handout, grant, subsidy, allowance, endowment, subscription, benefaction. So, by their definition, that FICA is a gift. You're giving a gift to this FICA fund, and it's not mandatory, as they may say. You have to give up this money. You have to give away this money. Like your employer would say, and so many people with street logic would say, because the only knowledge they got is what somebody told them. Like most people on this planet, their knowledge is hearsay. So that's a contribution. Let's go back. 3. Method of application. The application shall be prepared in accordance with the form, instruction, regulations applicable thereto, and shall set forth fully and clearly the data therein called for. The employee shall file the application with the District Office of Social Security Administration, or if the employee is not working within the United States, with the District Office of Social Security Administration at Baltimore, Maryland. Form SS5 may be obtained from any district office of the Social Security Administration or from any district director. An account number will be assigned to the employee for the Social Security Administration in due course upon the basis of information reported on the application required under this section. A card showing the name and account number of the employee to whom an account number has been assigned will be furnished to the employee by the Social Security Administration. So let's break this paragraph down. This sheds a lot of light on what's going on. First of all, the only time you're supposed to even get a Social Security card is when you're getting ready to go to work, because they're telling you to apply for it when you're, going for a job. That's when you need it, and it's needed for the FICA fund if you want to give that money to FICA. So basically, if you're reading this correctly, they're saying you really don't need a Social Security card or an account number unless you're ready to give away some money. Yeah, FICA is on everybody's check, Marco. All right. FICA's been robbing y'all. Time for filing Form SS5. The application shall be filed on or before the 7th day after the occurrence of the first day of employment. It's telling you when to fill out an SS5 form. But yet, SS5 forms are filled out for children, babies. Okay. Reference made in paragraph A1 of this section. Unless the employee leaves the employer of his employer before such 7th day, in which case the application shall be filed on or before the date on which the employee leaves the employee of his employer. So it's telling you, if you're going to get a job and you want to give some money away, it needs to be done on or before the 7th day on that job, the first job you get. That's when you go get an account number. That makes sense, right? When you turn of age to go get your own account numbers, you go to the bank, you open up your own account when you're ready to put money in it, right? 3, changes and correction. Any employee may have his account number changed at any time by applying to a district office of the Social Security Administration and showing good reason for a change. With that exception, only one account number will be assigned to an employee. Any employee whose name is changed by marriage or otherwise, or who has stated incorrect information on Form SS5 should report such change or correction to a district office of the Social Security Administration. Copies of the form for making such reports may be obtained from any district office of the administration. So, we have been misled that we need, even when you look at the 1040 and doing a tax return and you have children, they're not even supposed to have an account number yet. But they're wanting to you. I think it's if they're over 2 years old, 1 or 2, you have to have a social to put on there to claim them as a dependent, or they won't give it to you. Okay. Duties of employee with respect to his account number. 1. Information to be furnished to employee. An employee shall, on the day on which he enters the employer of an employer for wages, comply with provisions of paragraph B1, 1, 2, 3, or 4 of this section, except that if the employee's services for the employer consist solely of agricultural labor, domestic service in a private home of the employer, not on a farm operated for profit, or service not in the
So now is what are you gonna do? You heard what I had to say? And most of all, let's keep it real. I'm only repeating what you've already said to yourself. That's why you're here. That's why you tune in every week. Yeah, I'm only repeating what you already said to yourself. I'm not saying anything new. I might be saying it in a different way. I might be saying it in a different tone. I might be saying it with some force differently. But for the most part, your spiritual self has been knocking you over the head, telling you, hey, what you doing? Hey, 3 o'clock in the morning, get up, write that that inspirational thought you had, write it down or go act on it. And what do? You look at that clock, turn over, I'll get it later and go to sleep. Akeem, how you know? How you know you in my bedroom? You can see us? You spying on us? No, I ain't got to spy on you. I ain't got to know. I know how we are. I know what we really are, and we all operate the same way. We come from the same designer. We come from the same designer who designed us to be spiritual and powerful and divine. And the way we get our inspiration is when everybody's calmed down and all the negative energy is subsided. That's when, in the wee hours of the night, is when God can really speak to you and get you in that corner and start to talk to you. That's what happens. How you know I can't? Because it happens to me all the time. And a lot of times I listen, and then sometimes I don't. And I always regret when I don't. Read that scripture and that kind of like, how would he curse a tree that wasn't bearing fruit, but it wasn't supposed to be bearing fruit? Now, when I heard Reverend Ike preach on it, he said, well, anything that doesn't produces any fruit, what's the use for it? He went to the tree to get the fruit. There was no fruit. And he said, may no one get fruit from you. So let's look in our life. How many times, or apply it to yourself? Maybe you're the tree. Maybe it's the message in that is that you're the tree that is supposed to bear fruit, but all you have is leaves. All you have is, what are leaves? You keep, the leaves weren't edible. He was looking for the fruit. Are you just a person who just stands there and just look pretty, look handsome, but you're not bearing any fruit? You're not producing anything of value. And what I mean by of value, are you producing anything value for yourself, for self-improvement? Because in order to improve anything, you have to improve yourself. The first job that you have is to improve yourself, to make yourself better for yourself so that you can be better for the world. And that static are being sacrificed. And that's if your stuff's not available, they can't hear it. Sometimes you gotta feel your way through the dark, and I struggled all the way up into the minute. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all you guys.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent it. The information station changing the nation.
Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to everyone. Thanks for tuning in on this June the 16th, 2024 episode of Inspiration Sunday. And the title of this show, Do You Talk to Yourself? And if so, if you talk to yourself, what are you saying to yourself? What are you speaking? What are you saying? Oh, are you saying things that are encouraging? Or are you saying things that are discouraging? Are you rehearsing negative situations in your mind? Like maybe you had a bad experience with someone or something, and you feel kind of offended by this. And give me a second. You feel kind of offended, and what are you rehearsing? Are you rehearsing that situation over and over? What's going on? You know, repetition is the way to reprogram your mind. Repetition is what, or the reason why we have so many habits that we have to overcome that are not serving us to our highest purpose, our highest calling, not giving us the positive results. Repetition. I say this all the time. I say this, that it was repetition that they gave us. Processes are being repeated every day, all day, every day. Processes are being given to us. Think about it. They repeat that process of the birth, how you come into this world, you go to the hospital, and everything thinks it's normal. I was having a conversation with someone last week or something, and we touched on this subject of how the IRS is a third-party debt collector and they're a contractor for the government. And because this person had the expertise of they work for the government, they didn't agree with my assessment, my interpretation that they are a contracted government agency. And the reason why I say that is because when they don't have a budget, they shut them down. But all the other places stay open. And well, they say because that's not in the IRS is not an essential. Then I say, wait a minute, IRS is not essential. So basically, you're making my argument. When you say it's not essential, so it's not essential for them to collect the taxes that you claim you're supposed to pay? So I still stand by what I said. It's a contracted government agency. It doesn't have any legislative power. It don't even it doesn't have any enforcement power, but what the government allows and what you allow. Everything's by consent. Why? Because you have to sign everything. If it was something that you have to do by dealing with them, then why do you need to sign him under penalty of perjury? Why? That's a no one can force you to put your signature on anything. We live in we're free spiritual beings of God. Right? So I'm kind of going off and I'm gonna come back. But I just want to reiterate this point because this really need to be understood. The creation of these entities, what the slang is, the straw man, the enzeligus, the creation of these things is for their benefit. And that's the entity that they want to do business with. They don't want to do business with you as a spiritual child of God. They can't. You are sovereign to them, basically. They would say, oh, you're using a sovereign citizen argument. No, I'm not. I'm using a biblical argument. The laws written in this book was for you to operate spiritually. The laws written in constitutions, codes established is for you to operate civilly. But they took that civil code and put that in front of you and from this because this is the law. You're in our religious order. This is how our bylaws work. So you need to do this. And yes, if you become a member of their church, their religious organization, you do have to abide by the rules. It's just like any other organization. I was involved with Jehovah's Witnesses for many years, right? And because I was involved with them, I had to listen to their rules because I dedicated myself to their rules. I became a member. You see? So if you become a member or something, you agree to go by those rules. And you became a member how? You became the member of the local county government by way of the birth certificate. You became not you per se. The entity was created that was the member of their thing. Then they took that county birth certificate, took it over to the membership site called the federal government, got a social security card, and they gave you an account number. So I was having this discussion, and this person didn't agree. See, and I was talking. That's what's it. See, people tell themselves all the time what they believe to be true. This person believes because they have this inside information that they knew everything they know about the government. So, I couldn't even touch on the fact that a W-2, a W-4 was a voluntary act. I couldn't even go there because, as you know, all educational institutions, any system that has a system in place or entity that has a system in place, it's going to teach you according to its guidelines of how they want you to operate so it can benefit the membership, the whole of the group, the government to its highest purpose. And what I'm teaching you is how to take the Bible, take your Torah, take your Quran, take all of that and make that work for you to its highest cause. And just separate from that. See, I couldn't talk to this person. And I got into this conversation kind of subtly, just kind of throwing some information out there, and realized that I was talking to the wrong person. And like, wait a minute, hold on, Akeem, you can't change this person's reality. Why? Because they didn't give you permission. Secondly, they don't want it. They don't want to hear that. They're comfortable with where they're at. That's just something I want to say. People, wait till people give you permission to do that. And even when they give you permission, they get brain overload. They say they will actually say that my brain is. Now, me, and I'm encouraging you, when you run into something and it's giving you brain overload, or you feel like it's short circuiting some type of thought process, or that is the time to talk to yourself. See, I went all the way there to come here. That's the time to talk to yourself and ask yourself, why am I getting brain overload with this information? What about what's being said to me is giving me this feeling of I can't handle this? See, it's like a computer hard drive. Once it's filled up with memory, you got to erase some of it, or you got to get a new hard drive and start adding on information. So it won't take any more new information. See, and this is how most people live that are stuck in these ruts. They have left no room. Now, our brains are capable of storing unlimited amount of information. Our brains are capable of recalling things from our childhood or various parts of our life. It may not be recall everything verbatim, but guess what? All of that information that you got even from the time of your conception in your mother's womb, that memory is still there. You just don't know how to access it. Oh, the memories of your past lives are still there because it's not stored in here, in this brain, in this biological brain. Guess what? And this is how they came up with the idea of some of the technology they're using right now. So if this brain, it doesn't store a vast amount of information, right? It stores it. But at some point, it has to offload some of the information to keep you current with new information. Y'all ready? I'm taking y'all somewhere. Y'all ready? I'm teaching you about how you work. Your download is coming. But y'all believe that these companies, they're coming up with all these ideas. We're gonna do Wi-Fi. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do AI. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Where do you think they're getting that information from? Oh, they just became some brilliant. No. It's already been done before millions of years ago. There's nothing new under the sun. Solomon said that. It's just new to it's really not new to you. You just starting to remember it and get back acclimated to your ancient self who have been here before and did all of these things. As a matter of fact, this day, this age that we're in is the most, you ready? Prehistoric existence that we've had so far on this dimension. Oh, the dinosaurs are prehistoric. No, they told y'all about them dinosaurs and all that stuff to make you look somewhere, give you a concept of what the truth is, to look over there to make you so that you, while you're looking at a dinosaur prehistoric, we didn't have, we was using horse and buggies. We were doing all these things to make you look like you progressed when you had already been and done there and done that millions, trillions of years ago. And the people that gave you that information, their mind, their concept of time and everything is so distorted. They didn't even lie right. And it's all coming out. They didn't even get the lies straight. Because they are new to this scene. You're not. You're not new. You just been lulled to sleep and given a story and you bought it. But back to where do they get this information from? So once your brain, your biological brain, has reaches a limit of information where okay, I need to get some more information. Guess where it is? The old information or information that you had that you're not recalling right now. See, they cut something off. There's the energy blocking something so you can't recall it. It's stored in what we talk in computer world, the cloud. Where do you think they get that term, the cloud, from? We're gonna put it in the cloud. Oh, we're gonna tap into the Akashic records. The cloud is nothing but a dysfunctional, more limited form of what the Akashic records are, which is information that's stored out there, out into the, let me get the term, the spiritual universe, where all information and libraries and information is. The problem is you just lost your ability to go tap into that information, or it's very limited. But when you're recalling stuff, it's working. You just don't know how to turn it on and off. You're way more advanced, way more tech. See, the term spiritual is just a term that we use here in this dimension to say that you are a super part of a super mind, infinite consciousness, where your consciousness is connected to everyone in around you. We're connected. That's why you're picking up thoughts that, hey, well, I wasn't thinking that. And they're picking up your thoughts too. When you look at your phone and you start thinking about something and all of a sudden it's on the phone. Somebody thought I was crazy when I said that. And it was happening to, like, when I started to realize and recognize that, I mentioned it to someone. I was like, Kim, nah, that's not true. Pay attention. How many times you thought about something and it was just on your phone? How did that happen? Because your thoughts are energy and it's a frequency. It vibrates and it's sending out a vibration. And they just elevated the technology so that they can pick up that energy into the phone. Your phone is a transmitter and a receiver. It sends and receives information. So you think that phone that you hold in your hand is not picking up your energy of thoughts and interpreting it into a to translating it into what you were thinking? This is why I'm talking about. What do you talk? What do you say to yourself? Do you talk to yourself? So something is listening all the time, not just to your verbal transmissions, it's listening to your mental transmissions. So this is why you must be on the watch for what you're thinking, what you're saying, because now more than ever, you're going to start seeing or have been seeing things come at you faster than ever because the technology has upgraded. This is all 5G is all about. And it's going to, you think 5G they're just getting started. It's going to be 6G, 7G, 10G. It's going to keep going. And the higher the frequency is, the more dialed into your abilities, your thinking. But why is that the case? Why is they're so wanting to know what you think? Why is that? Because if I know what you're thinking, I know how to control you. I know what your weaknesses are. I know what your strengths are. So basically, if what I'm saying is true, you don't have to believe me. What I'm saying, you might need to be getting some things to protect your thoughts. Just like you have to buy things to protect your identity, you're gonna have to buy things to protect your mental identity. See, this biohacking and hacking is real. It's not just computers. They're trying to hack you. Hakeem crazy. They can listen to our thoughts. They can interpret our thoughts. Yes, they can. They can. In this world, we have unlimited abilities. You have truly, you have special powers. And the job of ones who know you have special powers that want to stay in control is to make you believe you don't have them. Make you think, make you believe you're ordinary. You're not extraordinary. Make you think you're not uh special. See, the psychological world, the one who wants to deem people crazy is going to say, they're going to say, you haven't feeling you have feelings of grandeur. You're psychotic. You're insane. Take this medication. You need to come down to earth. No, what they really mean is you need to come down off of the knowledge and the truth of who you really are. So this same individual I was having a communication with about this, I just want to add this in. And I said to them, I said, I have this conversation with a lot of people with degrees and they have special credentials given to them by the institutions that they went to and paid for to get this knowledge, who say that exactly what you're saying. They usually come to me after they have experienced something, some extreme event, negative event that they had with running with the very system that they trusted. They usually come to me and they say to me, you were right. And I'm not saying it to be right, but the only reason why this particular person, they haven't had any problems with it. See, you change once you start having problems, and your illusion of what you thought was right gets shaken up. This is why it's important. You have to keep talking to yourself and you have to examine, yo, okay, where I am right now, is it serving me? Where I want to be, where I want to go, what is that? What does that look like? Who am I? Who I hang out with? Who I listen to? What I read? What I watch? The places I place myself into? Are these places serving my highest good, my highest cause, my true mission? These jobs that they want you to get are not your true mission. They're just a means to the end so that you can survive under the current system of how they got it working. And this is a constant conversation people are having with themselves. I got to get a job. I got to do this because I got to be able to pay my bills. And no one ever stops and sit back and say, who created all of this that I have to be in such a panic mode to have money to pay for all of this? Where did this all come from? It's not from God. I can tell you that right now. God just made the earth perfectly and said, here's the garden, go do your thing. Man decided to make these systems. And in these systems, it said we're going to make people dependent on us for their resources. This is the whole reason why your mind and your consciousness is under attack and being surveilled. See, they made that movie years ago, Minority Report, where they were locking people up before they even committed the crime because they knew they were going to. They were getting time for something they hadn't even done yet because they were able to see into the future and see that that person would have done it. Think about it. We're not that far off from that situation. We're not that far that the control that's being sought is that deep. So that's why you got to watch what you're thinking, watch what you're saying, because it will come to fruition. And not to worry about so much what outside influences might be listening to. First of all, your super consciousness, your subconsciousness is listening. That's the most important. Because remember, if you are God, your wish is your command. Your words is bringing forth. Oh, that reminds me. When I had written it down, you know, it gets bad when you write stuff down and you forgot you wrote it down so you can be reminded. But as I was talking, I got reminded because I said I would talk about this today. I thought I was about to wrap it up until I remembered that I said I was going to talk about it. Because it had to do with what I was talking about, wisdom being feminine. And I have to read this because y'all really need to understand. Because when I was reading this, and it comes out of the book of John. It says, and we on to this here. I'm jumping from what I was just talking about, talking to yourself, because I had this revelation when I was doing Tuesday's show, and it said, and man, I was reading Tuesday's show. Let me just recap. Let's recap so we can get the fullness of what I'm about to say. I read chapter 9, right? And it said, O God of my ancestors and Lord of mercy, who have made all things by your word. This is what gave me the revelation. And by your wisdom have formed humankind. So let's go to chapter John. John chapter 1. The gospel according to John, it says, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him, not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of the people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. So let's go back to this scripture that I read in Wisdom of Solomon that they took out of the Bible. It says, and by your wisdom have formed humankind, who have made all things by your word. So in here, it's saying God used word to create all things, and wisdom have formed humankind. What? So in some theology that I've learned, they say the word was who we call the Christ now, Jesus. That's who that was supposed to be, right? Because it's saying he was with God when he formed the world. I'm not here to argue that point or whether that's true or false, but it's saying three distinct beings was in existence, was there when God created the world. It was God, the Word, and wisdom. And they gave the word, a masculine personality. And they gave the wisdom a feminine personality. Why am I saying it like that? Because in the Trinity, what do they try to tell you? Is God, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. But the Holy Ghost or the Spirit is nothing, is another way of saying wisdom, because the Spirit is what guides you to the truth, right? So we could say honestly that spiritually, being spiritual is to have wisdom. That's the feminine. So it's really God, the man, the woman. I mean, it's right there in front of you when he made the first man and woman, according to what the Bible says. It was God, he created man and woman. And somehow they translated this whole God, the Son, the Holy Ghost. And it was years ago, I would say, to God, it was father, mother, child. That's what I said before. So, but according to this, who have made all things by your word, which is the man, and by your wisdom have formed humankind, which is the woman. So it's saying all things come into existence by way of the mastermind, which is God, the masculine and the feminine. The word is the idea, bringing forth, hey, let there be light. Wisdom is, okay, how do we bring about this light that is into perfection so that it'll work in synchronicity with everything? The wisdom. So when you see things from that perspective, you start to really see what the truth is and why in this society they're trying to destroy the relationship between the masculine and the feminine, because it's necessary to carry out the true purpose of our calling. We need that mastermind, that all in all, the God. And then we need the male, the masculine, the word. And then we also need the wisdom, the woman. That's what I wanted to go over. Read that. Because it said, all things came in being through him, and without him, not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life. And the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify to the light, so that all might believe through him. And what is light is another, when you're speaking the truth, you're speaking on things, you're giving light to a situation. You're articulating through your speech. It's giving, that's the word, it's giving light. The true light which enlightens everyone was coming into the world. This is why they say that was Christ. He was in the world, and the world came into being through him, yet the world did not know him. He came to what was his own, and his own people did not accept him, but to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God, who were born not of blood, or of the will of the flesh, or of the will of man, but of God. That's a whole nother lesson. Then it says the word becomes flesh. And I can believe that. Your word becomes flesh. Your word becomes real to you when you utter it. All right. Do you talk to yourself? And when you talk to yourself, what are you saying? In order to say things good to yourself, you must encode, download into your brain, feed your brain, just like you would have a meal, all of the things that you wish you want to come to you that is good. All right, with that being said, I am going to shut it down. I hope y'all got something out of what I said. All right, peace, prosperity, extreme wealth to everyone. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all you guys.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent it. The information.